नमस्कार विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो, दक्षिण महाराष्ट्र शिक्षण मंडळ संचलित मराठी विद्यानिकेतन शाळेतर्फे तुम्हा 10वीच्या विद्यार्थ्यांसाठी व्याख्यानमालेचा उपक्रम सुरू करण्याचा निर्णय घेतला गेला आणि त्यानुसार काल मराठी विषयाचे तुम्हाला मार्गदर्शन श्री BM पाटील सरांनी केलेले होते. तुम्हा विद्यार्थ्यांचा लाभलेला प्रचंड प्रतिसाद पाहता या मार्गदर्शनाची तुम्हाला किती गरज होती हे आमच्या लक्षात आले आहे. आज होणारे इंग्रजी विषयाचे मार्गदर्शनही असेच तुम्हाला लाभदायक होईल अशी आम्हाला आशा वाटते. कोविड-19ने आपल्या जीवनातील अनेक गोष्टींवर परिणाम केला. ज्या मित्रांच्या गळ्यात गळा घालून चालणेच आपल्याला प्रिय होते, तेथे आता 2 हात लांब थांबावे लागत आहे. शेजारी नुसते कोणी शिंकले किंवा खोकले तरी आपल्या पोटात गोळा येतो आणि आपण त्याच्याकडे शंकेने पाहू लागतो. असे काहीसे विचित्र वातावरण असतानाही मुलांच्या परीक्षा घेण्याचा धाडसी निर्णय शासनाने घेतला. फक्त घेतलाच नाही तर त्या दिशेने त्वरित पावलेही उचलली. खंबीरपणे सर्व तयारी केली आणि याच एका कारणामुळे आम्हालाही परीक्षेची मोहीम यशस्वी होईल असे वाटते. बनारसमध्ये असताना स्वामी विवेकानंद एका मंदिराच्या पायऱ्यांवरून उतरत होते. त्याच वेळी तेथील माकडे त्यांच्या पाठीमागे लागले. त्या माकडांपासून स्वतःचा बचाव करण्यासाठी स्वामी विवेकानंद पळू लागले, पण ती माकडे काही केल्या त्यांचा पिच्छा सोडेना. इतक्यात पळणाऱ्या स्वामीजींना उद्देशून एका साधूचा आवाज आला, पळू नका, त्यांना सामोरे जा. हे ऐकताच स्वामीजी एकदम वळले आणि त्या माकडांकडे तोंड करून खंबीरपणे उभे राहिले आणि काय आश्चर्य, सारी माकडं मागे सरली. स्वामीजींनी त्यांच्या दिशेने एक पाऊल टाकलं आणि क्षणार्धात ती माकडे पळून गेली. या अनुभवातून विवेकानंदजी म्हणतात, संकटांना घाबरू नका. संकटांना जर आपण धैर्याने तोंड दिले तर ते खंबीरपणे आणि तोंड देत जर त्यांच्या समोर आपण खंबीरपणे उभं राहिलं तर संकटे स्वतः होऊन पळून जातील आणि तुमच्या यशाचा मार्ग सुकर होईल. म्हणूनच मुलांनो, शासनाच्या निर्णयावर उलटसुलट चर्चा करत बसण्यापेक्षा आपण त्या निर्णयाचं स्वागतच करूया. परीक्षेची तयारी जोरात करून खंबीरपणे त्याला सामोरं जाऊया. भले कितीही प्रतिकूल परिस्थिती असू दे, आपण नक्की सर्वजण मिळून त्या प्रतिकूल परिस्थितीशी लढा देऊया. इतिहास आपल्या काळजात तुमचं नाव सुवर्णाक्षराने कोरायला आतुर आहे हे लक्षात ठेवा. आता आपण मुख्य विषयाकडे वळूया. या व्याख्यानमालेत प्रज्वलित होणारा दुसऱ्या दिवसाचा दीप प्रकाशमान करणार आहेत मराठी विद्यानिकेतन शाळेत कार्यरत असलेले इंग्रजी विषयाचे शिक्षक श्री सुनील लाड सर. सरांचे शिक्षण MA BEd पर्यंत झाले आहे. दक्षिण महाराष्ट्र शिक्षण मंडळामध्ये सर 2007 सालापासून कार्यरत आहेत. मराठी विद्यानिकेतन शाळेमध्ये सर 2015 साली रुजू झाले. खणखणीत आणि स्पष्ट आवाजात मुलांना समजेल असे शिकविणारे शिक्षक म्हणून सर ओळखले जातात. तेव्हा मी आता आपली रजा घेते आणि पुढील सर्व सूत्रे लाड सरांच्याकडे सुपूर्द करते. धन्यवाद.
शेअरिंग करू. शेअर करू. एक स्क्रीन हे करें है ना, एक
स्लाइड शो
होता है मैडम
खालीचा कॉन्सेप्ट इथे दिलेली की स्लाइड शो
शो
इथे प्ले म्हणा.
स्टँड जरा घेऊन स्टँड. Namaskar. Good morning to one and all. I heartily welcome in this SSLC Vyakyanmala. This Vyakyanmala is conducted by our school Marathi Vidyaniketan Belgaum and inspired by Subhash Ulkar sir, President Betterment Committee of our school Marathi Vidyaniketan. Here, the purpose of our Vyakyanmala to give a guideline to all the students. In this in this period, in a corona pandemic situations, the most of the students do not know about that the structure of the question paper, structure of that the OMR sheet, everything. So for that the purpose, our school conducted this program, this Vyakyanmala. Here, we'll start our the session. Once again, good morning to one and all. At first, we'll discuss about that the syllabus of SSLC. Syllabus of SSLC is divided into the which totally 4 parts. The first part is that the prose section, second part is that the poetry section, third part is that supplement reading, and the fourth part is that is a grammar. In a prose section, there are 6 lessons. In poetry section, there are 5 poems, and in a supplement reading, there are 2 lessons, and the others grammatical units are mentioned for your syllabus. At first, we'll discuss about that the prose sections. What are the prose mentioned in a prose section? The first prose, that is a hero. Second prose, there is a girl by the tracks. Fourth one is that is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Next one, that is the concert, and that is the colors of silence. There are 6 lessons for you in this examination. Now we move towards a poetry section. You have 5 poems for you. The first, Grandma Climbs a Tree. Second one, Quality of Mercy. Third one, The Song of India. Next one, Jazz Poem 2. And the last poem, The Blind Boy. Then we turn to the supplement reading. The first supplement reading, Narayanpur incident, and the second one is that is a great martyr ever cherished. Now I move towards that the grammatical units. What are the grammatical units you have? You should concentrate more and more on a grammar section. Most of the students are neglected to that the section. When we study about that the model of the question paper, we will get the out of 40 you will get that is a 15 marks or 16 marks for a grammar section. So at first we'll discuss about that what are the grammatical units you have. The first grammatical unit, that is the question tag. Second one is that framing the questions. You make a WH questions as well as yes no type questions. Then the syllabification, to identify one syllable word, two syllable word or three syllable word. Then that is a homophone. Then the prefix and the suffixes. Then that is the language functions. What are the language functions? So you have such that is a means, for example, that is a language functions example, that is a order, or that is a permission, or that is accepting invitations, refusing invitations. All language functions are mentioned in it. Then the form of the word, form of the verb, then the articles. There are two types of the articles. The first one is that is a definite article, and second one is that indefinite articles. Second, next one is that is the voice. There are two types of the voices. The first one is that is a passive voice, and second one is that is the active voice. Means passive voice change into active voice. Then a reported speech, direct change into indirect speech. Then the here degrees of comparison. There are three types of degrees of comparison. First one is that positive degree. Second one is that is a comparative degree, and then that is a superlative degree. Next grammatical unit are to infinitive. To find out the to infinitive, such a questions you have. Then that is the if clause. If clause is also known as the conditional clause. Then the here parts of speech, particularly use of appropriate linkers or the conjunction. And second one is that the use of prepositions. With other parts of speech are there, maybe noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, interjections. They will give such as the questions to identify a particular parts of speech to the underlined word. Such a questions will come in your examination. So that's why you should study the entire parts of speech. Then we'll discuss about that the model of the question paper. But before discussing, in your school, your teacher also will give such a the model of the question papers. Such a the model of the question paper is given by the SSLC board exam. So here you should at first you should study about that the model of the question paper. You should analyze, prose wise analyze, prose wise, that is a poetry wise, or that is a supplementary reading. You can study about that the model of the question paper. Particularly we know that here 14 or 15, particular 14 marks for the prose, 8 marks for the poetry, 2 marks for the supplementary reading, and the 15 or 16 marks for the grammar section. Afterwards, we'll discuss about that the marks, topic wise marks or the lesson wise marks. With the help of that the model of your question paper, you should study about that the model of the questions yourselves. Your teacher will help to you through the Google Meet or the Zoom. So I will discuss little about that model of the question paper. Now I turn to that the OMR sheet. You know that the OMR sheet yesterday my colleague has given more information about that the OMR sheet. You should use black or blue pen. Then you can use the black or that is a blue pen, blue ball pen. You don't use a gel pen or that is the ink pen. All information is a printed, ready-made. They will give in your exam. How to write the questions, means that is how to select, how to choose such an option. So here how to shade, that is the blank, the circle. You should completely the circle. You should dark completely. So here already given such the information by the teacher yesterday. So I do not discuss more about that the OMR sheet. Now here we turn to that the approach section. The approach section, the first lesson, that is the hero. This hero, what are the qualities of hero? Already you know that. You have a courage, you have daring, you have everything. So then we say that he is a hero. This lesson, a hero, is written by well-known novelist. Novelist name is R.K. Narayan. In this lesson, there are two major characters. There are two major characters. The first character is that is Swami. Second character is Swami's father. Other characters, that is minor characters. Swami's mother, Swami's granny. These two characters are, that is a minor character. Here, the beginning of our lesson, Swami's father was reading a newspaper, and Swami was sitting in front of his father. Means one is a speaker, another one is a listener. Here the Swami's father was reading such a news loudly, and he listened carefully. What was the intention of his Swami's father to read more, means loudly? Our Swami could not understand. So here his intention was different, to read such the news loudly. He knew that Swami's father knew that Swami had no courage. He was a timid boy, he was a discouraged boy. Now he was a growing up child, but he had no any courage. And now here he was reading such the news, which is mentioned in that the newspaper. What was the news which is mentioned in it? A village boy or village lad killed to that the tiger. And such the news came in that the newspaper. And so here, at that purpose, he read loudly such the news. Then the year, The Swami's father challenged to that the Swami to sleep alone in his office room. But here Swami at first he did not accept. Swami's father was highlighted one statement: courage is everything, strength and age are not important. Here we'll get the two approaches, Swami's father's approach and the Swami's father. This courage is everything, strength and the age are not important. They will ask one questions in your examination. Who said this? Your answer is that Swami's father. Such a statement is a very important, you should highlight. Then Swami's father made a frightful proposition that Swami should sleep alone in the office room. Swami tried to change the subject. He was a well-known tricker, cheater. He was a good cheater. And when he insisted on again and again Swami's father, he was always trying to change the subject. You also should concentrate on the points. Next point is that Swami's father took him to the office room forcefully. He was not agree with the Swami's father. And then now here the two supporters. The first supporter is the Swami's mother and the Swami's, that is a granny. They always supported the Swami. And so here, when Swami's father took him to the office, Swami's mother and the granny opposed him. But at last, it was in a vain. You know that she was that is a man of principle like that. She was confirm on his own decision. And so here, it was in a vain. It becomes useless. Then now Swami was ready to sleep in that the office room, dark office room. And there, she was alone there, not with, that is a granny. And previous, already we know that he had such a habit. He slept beside the granny. It was his habit. According to Swami's father, it was not a good habit. Why? Because he was a growing up child. Swami remembered all the stories there. Means when he slept in the office room, he was alone there. Nobody was there. Not granny or that is the mother or the father. He was alone there. At last, he accepted that the challenge. Swami remembered all the stories of the devils and the evils or the ghost. And there he had heard the many kinds of the sounds. They'll ask such the questions. What are the sounds? What are the sounds he heard in the office room? Means the first, the ticking of the clock, rustle of leaves, or the snoring sounds, humming insects, everything. He was totally afraid in his office room. And now there, Swami slept under the bench. Why? They will ask questions on it. Swami slept under the bench because it was a safer place, safety place, more compact and the more reassuring, according to Swami. And so that's why he slept under the bench. Swami had a dreadful experience when he was lying under the bench. And now here, he remembered the devils, stories of the evils or ghosts. And suddenly what happened? Swami caught the burglar. Suddenly. But he did not know who it was. According to Swami, maybe it was a devil. And so that's why he caught to the burglar. Yes, he thought that it was a devil. And suddenly here what happened? He caught to that the burglar. Who was a burglar? One of the most notorious housebreakers of the district. You try to understand. He beat him, and he cried. That our burglar cried loudly, "Ayo, something has beaten me." He cried loudly, and then his father, the cook, servant came, and they stumbled upon that is the burglar. After that, congratulations were showed. Now he became a hero. Coincidentally, he became a hero. And now here, congratulations were showed on our Swami. Swami's classmates, by the Swami's classmates or his teacher or the headmaster, they showed that is a congratulation. His classmates look at him with respect. Then his teacher patted his back. His headmaster also told that he was a true scout. The last one questions on it, so that's why I will purposefully highlighted on that the point. Then now automatically our Swami became a hero at that night. Swami wanted to become, what was the wish of that is a Swami earlier, when the inspector congratulated to our the Swami. Why? Because Swami caught to that the most notorious housebreakers of the district, and so that's why the inspector asked one question: "Why didn't you join the police when you are a grown up?" What was the reply of the Swami? "Yes, I will join that is the police department." But what was the earlier aim of previous aim of our Swami? Purposefully, I quoted that the line. The last one questions on it. Swami wanted to become an engineer. Aim of our Swami. Engine driver, not engineer, but that is a engine driver. Then that is a conductor. Sorry, engine driver, a railway guard, and that is a bus conductor. Yes, it was a earlier plan of our aim of our that is the Swami. Swami slept that night earlier. His father was sleeping. The Swami and went away. Swami relieved at the night everything which is mentioned in it. I highlights on all the points you should study from the first line to last line carefully, because all objectives, multiple choice questions is regarding to this. So you should read in detail. It is a short but the sweet, the explanation, and so that's why you should study about all the points. Now I turn to the next lesson. Lesson's name is "There is a girl by the tracks." There is a girl by the tracks. This lesson is a very important for you. Here in this lesson, there are the two major characters. There are the two major characters. The first major character is that is our the Baleshwar Mishra, and the second character is that is our Romatal Reja. Here, two major characters mentioned in it. Now we are going to discuss about the introduction of the major characters. What are the major characters? Now we are going to discuss. At first, the Baleshwar. Who was a Baleshwar? We'll ask so many questions regarding the life history of that is a Baleshwar. He was a lanky youngster. He was coming from a Mirzapur. And where is a Mirzapur? That is in Uttar Pradesh. He was unemployed, high school dropout. He was also a job hunt. He was a jobless. His age was 20 years old. It is a little bit introductions about that is a Baleshwar Mishra. Now I will discuss about that the Roma Talreja. Who was a Roma Talreja? Roma Talreja was a, the call means here she was working in a as a call center executive. She had completed her education, that is a BCom. Then the year she graduated from that the Pune. She was living her job. Then her fiance means that is a boyfriend of our, that is a Roma Talreja. The last one questions on it, who was her fiance? Your answer is like that the Vijay. Here her age was 21 years. She was a 1 year senior than the Baleshwar Mishra. Other characters are also mentioned in it. It is known as a minor characters. The first one is that tempo truck driver, and the next one is that the Dinesh Talreja. Who was a Dinesh Talreja? Dinesh Talreja was a brother of Roma. His job was a marketing at retail outlet in a Ulhasnagar. Where is a Ulhasnagar? In a, that is a Bombay. It is a little bit introductions about that the all characters, minor as well as the major the characters. Here we know that the beginning of our lesson will get one line. This line is very important. One unknown person helped that the another unknown person. This line is a very important here. Baleshwar, how the Baleshwar Mishra helped to Roma Talreja, how Baleshwar Mishra saved her life. It is also very important, and so that's why it was a regular scene in a metropolis cities. We know that the commuters swam out into the, that is the trains. Trains, we know that there are a lot of crowd in a trains. And the here we try to understand the regular scenes in a metropolis cities like Pune, Mumbai. Yes, you know that. Next, the Roma Talreja, already I have discussed. 21-year girl working at a call center executive, means as a call center executive, try to settle into the corner near the door in the, that is the train. Means when she returned from her office to her home, and now here when she enter into that the train, when she enter into the train was full of the people, full of crowd, and there was no any space in that the train, but she adjusted herself. And what happened, she tried, means she, when the train was running or moved towards that its position or the directions, there what happened, she means the screech between that is the two women, means the here, but the here she always try to settle into a corner near the, that is door in the train. She tried to reach the steel railing of the train, but she was thrown out of the coach and she fell down. It was the bad luck. She fell down nearby the tracks. And now here, her condition was, she became, when she fell down nearby the tracks, she became a totally unconscious. And what here in opposite side, Baleshwar Mishra was in another train, and his train was moved towards its directions in opposite side. The Baleshwar Mishra saw such a horrible scene, and here what happened? He cried loudly, but nobody helped to that is our Baleshwar Mishra. Means here Baleshwar Mishra saw and jumped from the train, and they shouted to help her, but nobody or no one could help that is a Baleshwar, or particular to that the girl Roma Talreja. And he at last he had no any alternative and he jumped from his train. And then the year he lifted to that the girls and crossed the track and came to that the roadside. Nobody was there. Both both Roma Talreja and our the Baleshwar Mishra, both were unknown to each other, and just nobody helped to that our the Baleshwar Mishra. Roma Talreja's condition was very horrible, and the problem was that. Then the year, yes, he shouted to that the motorist to stop, but nobody means here nobody stopped their motorist, but only one motorist was stopped his that is a truck, that is a his name was that is a tempo truck, not name, but the here we say that tempo truck, Gujarati tempo truck driver. And at last the Gujarati tempo truck driver stopped his the truck and held to the Baleshwar. He was also unknown person. Baleshwar was also unknown person, and the Roma Talreja was an unknown person. You see that, and at last, with the help of that the tempo truck driver, Baleshwar, to take the girl to that the hospital. And now here, there the cop was there, and here the cop suggested to Baleshwar to take the girl to that Arauli. And here he said that that is the means see cop suggested Baleshwar to take the girl to that Arauli, but it was a 10 kilometer away from that the spot. And one side the Roma's condition was a very worst condition, very critical condition, and so that's why she needed nearby hospital. And so here he reminded or he remembered another nearby hospital, and at last he admitted to that the another means that the particular nearby hospital. And now the hospital's name was that there is a that is a Ghansoli hospital, that is a multi-speciality hospital in Ghansoli, Divine Multi-Speciality Hospital in a Ghansoli. He was admitted there. And now here in that means when at first when he admitted to that the in a small hospital, but there was no facility in that hospital. And at last he admitted to that the another hospital's name was the Divine Multi-Speciality Hospital in Ghansoli. He'll ask one question on it. Where was a Divine Multi-Speciality Hospital? You'll ask, definitely ask. So that's why you concentrate on that the point also. Then while taking help to the, that Roma came into that conscious there, and he opened her eyes. Then the Baleshwar asked her name and the brother's cell phone number. Then he informed. Yes, after that he informed to that her family members. Particularly, he informed to that our Dinesh Talreja. Who was a Dinesh Talreja? Dinesh Talreja was a brother of our Roma Talreja. And here in that the hospital, Divine Multi-Speciality Hospital, Dr. Anil Agrawal was there. And Dr. Anil Agrawal was admitted her in ICU without any case paperwork or case paper. Next day, Dinesh came and Dinesh told to that the Baleshwar that Roma had lost her cell phone and handbag. Yes, this line is a very important, cell phone and handbag. Yes, here Roma had lost her cell phone and there is a handbag there. Then the year when Roma fully recovered, she was amazed at the stranger risk of his life and the saved her. There is a life. That's a point here. We try to understand. Mumbai people were afraid. The last one questions on it. Yes, means nobody helped to that our Baleshwar or that the Roma Talreja. Why? Because there was one reason which is mentioned in it. Mumbai people were afraid of the court or afraid of the police. Also getting that is a trapped in the court or with that is a police. And so that's why nobody helped to that the Baleshwar as well as that is a Roma Talreja. Such are the points you can read carefully. You will get its answer. It's very useful for your examinations. Now we turn to that is a next lesson. Lesson's name is that a gentleman of a Rio and Medio. Gentleman of Rio and Medio is written by John A. Sedillo. They will ask one questions on it, multiple choice questions. So that's why you should recite all the that is a name of the writers, name of the writers. So that's why it's very useful for you. Yes, the gentleman's of Rio and Medio is written by the John A. Sedillo. At first, we'll discuss about that is a major characters. Characters are very important. They will definitely ask on it. Yes, here there are the three major characters mentioned in it. One, in this lesson, the transactions about the land was going on. Transactions of a land was going on, and so here, at first we'll discuss about that the three persons in any transaction. So we'll get like that. Three persons are very important as a major characters. The first person, that is a Don Anselmo. Who was a Don Anselmo? Don Anselmo was a land seller. Who was the Americans? Next character, that is Americans. Who was the Americans? That is a land buyer. And the next character, that is John A. Sedillo. That is our writer, John A. Sedillo. Yes, he is the writer. His role was like that middleman, like agent, and by profession he was an advocate. And so here means where is a buyer, where is a seller, there is a buyer. If you want to complete any transactions, we need that is a middleman. And the John A. Sedillo's role was like that is a middleman, or that is like an agent. And so here, and actually another one thing is that by profession he was an advocate. And so here his role was a very important here. And now we'll discuss about that all the points which is mentioned here. Don Anselmo's house was they'll ask many questions. Which type of house was there? Don Anselmo's house was a small, rich, but quaint. We try to understand. We should highlight on that line. Don Anselmo's house was a small and rich, but that is the quaint. Don Anselmo lived up in a Rio and Medio. Don Anselmo lived up in a Rio and Medio. He was always unhurried. He was always, that is unhurried means he was no any there is a hurry. What about the orchard? Which type of orchard was there? Yes, they will ask on that the question. His orchard was a narrow and the beautiful. His orchard was a narrow and the very beautiful. What about the Don Anselmo's coat? Yes, the Don Anselmo's coat was that is old, green and faded. The color of the coat was like a green. The condition of the coat was old and that is a faded. Here it took months of negotiations to come to an understanding with the old man because he was unhurried. This statement is a very important for your examination. Definitely will ask the questions on it. It took the months of negotiation to come to an understanding with the old man because he was unhurried. Then his moments. What are his moments? Yes, now the writer, the John A. Sedillo, tried to compare with another. That is the character's name is that Charlie Chaplin. Means his moments was like that Charlie Chaplin. And so here, that is the point. Next one is that in this lesson there are the two types of two meetings. Means our lesson is divided into two meetings, first meeting and the second meeting. And now here, in a first meeting, there was a great deal of conversations about the rain. When Miss John A. Sedillo called to the Don Anselmo to complete the transaction, and when he visited, when he was visited to his office, Don Anselmo visited to his office, and there that is a subject, talking subject. We say that yes about the rain and his family. We try to understand that the point. Next one is that he sold his land to the Americans. Means the year He was a buyer, land buyer, and he was a land means here Don Anselmo was a land, that is a seller, and our Americans were, that is a land buyer. He sold his land to the Americans for how many dollars? $1,200. $1,200. And so here another statements I quoted. Yes, I quote that the sentence, we have made a discovery. Who said this? They will ask one questions on it. We have made a discovery. Who said this? That is a John A. Sedillo. This statement is very important regarding to the transaction. We have made a discovery. It means that when the year, if you want to complete the entire transactions about the land, at first we should measure about the land. And so that's why John A., the role of the middleman was very important. John A. Sedillo sent a surveyor or engineer to survey his land. At that time, he found that, or they found that his land was a double land. His land was a double land. Means here, he sold his land, means how many, that is the acres? The 8 acres. He sold his land, that is 8 acres land, he sold to the Americans for $1,200. But what happened? When they survey about his land became a double. He did not know about that his land. Why? Because he was a man of principle. He was a respected person in his village. He was a good person in his village, and so that's why. So here he said that we have made a discovery. Means such a information was given our middleman John A. Sedillo to Don Anselmo. Then the year they are good people. Buna Gaines, they will ask one questions on it. Buna Gaines means what? Buna Gaines means that is the good people. Then the year the dark young boy, yes, always he was a dark young boy, was always with him, accompanied Don Anselmo. His eyes were like that. That's a gazelle, like a deer, like a gazelle. They will ask one questions on it. According to surveyor, already we know that the Don Anselmo lands measure more than the 8 acres. They found that. American, after that, yes, they become a they missed. Actually, he was not they were ready. Americans were ready to give a extra amount for that, the extra land. They were ready, but he did not accept. Why? Because he was a man of principle. He was a stick up on his own words. Already he had given such the words to the Americans, means 10-acre land for that the $1,200. Already he had given such the words, and so that's why now he was a stick up on his the own words. And so here, and after that here, yes, he had taken the money, that is dollars. Yes, he had taken the dollars. Only that is $1,200, not a 24 double, means not he had taken. And so here after that, the Americans had replastered the old house, or the pruned the trees, the patched the fences and fence, and the move, and after that move that is a summer. Then the year when Americans came back to the writer's office with complaint. But here what happened? What was the approach of Don Anselmo? Yes, his approach was different. And here, Don means Americans came with the writer's office with a complaint. What are the complaint? It's a very important. And so here, I will focus on the complaints. They will ask one questions on it. The children of Rio and Medio were overrunning their property. Yes, children of Rio and Medio were overrunning their property. And second complaint they came with, they came every day. The children came every day and played under the trees, built little fences around them, and took a blossom. There are the two complaints. You should concentrate on it. And so here, then Don Anselmo finally, yes, that is took only the $1,200 for land because he was a man of principle. That's the point. Then here, according to Don Anselmo, the real owner of the tree were the children of Rio and Medio. According to Don Anselmo, the real owner of that is a tree were the children of the Rio and Medio. Means what here? Yes, his approach was that he could not understand about that the legal procedure. What are the legal procedure? He told that to the Americans as well as John A. Sedillo. I mean, he sold his land. Once he said that he sold his land, but I did not sell the trees. Why? Because all trees are planted for the children of our river and meadow. But according to the legal procedure, it was totally wrong. Everything on this land was belong to the owner or that is a buyer. He could not understand, and so that's why. Yes, here the real owner of the tree were the children of a river meadow, according to the Don Anselmo. But according to the legal procedure, who were the real owner of the trees? That is our Americans. Then in a second meeting, Don Anselmo talked about the weather. In first meeting, we know that's the point. That's the point. Here in first meeting, they talk about the rain and that is a family. Yes, that is a family. But now here, in a second meeting, Don Anselmo talk about the weather. Then the sobrinos and neotos means what here? The niece and the nephews, or that is the grandchildren. The sobrinos and the neotos both are the Spanish word. Or Bunagent is also Spanish word. Don is also Spanish word. Dons means that is a sir, respectable. Don Anselmo, like that. Yes, means so many words are the Spanish. Yes, Spanish words are here. Sobrinas and neotos means what? They'll ask one question. So here nieces and the nephews are a grandchildren. Or the Bunagent means the good people. They'll ask. Then the word innumerable kin, which is mentioned in it. Innumerable kin means what? Yes, the old man had a number of the relatives. Means relative. Innumerable means what? Number of the relatives of the old man. That is a Don. That is Anselmo. Then Don Anselmo took a possession of the house from his mother. That's the point. Yes, I will quote this line. Yes, Don Anselmo took possession of the house from his that is a mother. Then means here little bit given here the possession. At last they became a owner. American became a owner of that is the land. Yes, this is our lesson, the gentleman of the river and meadow. You should read in detail. Next lesson, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. This lesson is very important. This lesson is written by Sri R. Venkataraman. Here, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. What was the role of the Dr. Ambedkar? It was very important. What was the purpose of the lesson which is given by the textbook committee? Yes, now here Dr. Ambedkar was a voracious reader. Voracious reader means what? Thirst for knowledge. Thirst for knowledge. He was a voracious reader. Ambedkar spent most of his life by reading the books. Dr. Ambedkar spent most of his life by the reading the books. Next, in New York, Ambedkar, when he was in New York, Ambedkar purchased about 2,000 old books. 2,000 old books, not 20,000 old books. 2,000 old books when he was in New York. Then the year he bought books by curtailing his daily needs. Yes, he bought books by curtailing his daily needs. Next point is that at the time of the second round table conference in London, he bought many books. He bought many books and sent to India in 32 boxes. How many boxes? 32 boxes. Then in the USA, in America, he was drawn the 14th amendment of a Constitution of the USA. They will ask what was the 14th amendment of the Constitution of the USA. Yes, and with the help of the Constitution, 14th amendment of the Constitution of USA gave a freedom to the black Americans. Freedom to the black Americans. Then the year he was greatly influenced by the life and work of Mahatma Phule. Mahatma Phule. Yes, the character was a very important here. Yes, social worker. He was a social worker. The influence of Mahatma Phule was on our Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So here who was Mahatma Phule? Mahatma Phule was a votary of a classless society and women's uplift. Women's uplift. And so here Next, Mukanayak. Yes, he that is a he started so many the newspapers. What are the newspapers? Mukanayak, Bhishkrut Bharat, and Samta. Mukanayak, Bhishkrut Bharat, and the Samta were the newspapers. Then the year he set up also, he started or he established an institutions. What are the institutions? Like Hitkarni Sabha and the Independent Labour Party of our India. Then the year Mahatma Gandhi ji gave the term to the depressed classes as a Harijan. He called them, means depressed classes. Mahatma Gandhi ji, yes, gave such a the term to that the depressed classes as a Harijan. They called them as a Harijan. So you should highlight it. Then the year you should highlight on that the point. He was elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly in the election under the Constitution of India Act 1935. 1935. Then Dr. Ambedkar became a chairman of a, yes, they will ask one question on it. Who was a chairman of a drafting committee of the Constitution Assembly? Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar, chairman of drafting committee. The word is very important here. Other luminaries were there, other persons were there on the drafting committee. Who were they? The first one, that is Alladi Krishna Swami Iyer. Next, that is K.M. Munshi. Next, N. Gopal Swami Iyengar. And means others, that is luminaries were there in the drafting committee. Means their role was also very important. So here they made the vital contribution in the process of a constitution making. Means the role of Dr. Ambedkar as well as other luminaries was very important in making Indian constitution. So here, next one is that Dr. Ambedkar was the pilot of various provisions of a Indian constitution. Now, B.N. Rao. Who was a B.N. Rao? They will ask one question on it. He was a constitutional advisor. He was a constitutional advisor, B.N. Rao. Then the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar mentioned the three pillars in our constitution, like legislative, then the executive, and the judiciary. Legislature, executive, and the judiciary. These all three pillars are there. And this means here our constitution is based on the three pillars. Our constitution, our India is based on three pillars: legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Then the year Jawaharlal Nehru chose the Dr. Ambedkar as the first law minister of independent India. He had more knowledge about that in the field of that is a legal field, and automatically Dr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru chose Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the first law minister of our India. Baba Sahib Ambedkar always, this line is also very important, Baba Sahib Ambedkar always stressed the importance of educational method to achieve the social objectives. If you want, means here his aim was like that to bring equality among the people, to give the rights to the depressed classes. So here he used such the educational method, or that is a constitution method, to achieve the social objectives. Then Ambedkar described the civil disobedience or non-cooperation and satyagraha as a grammar of anarchy. Yes, he described that the civil disobedience or non-cooperation or satyagraha as a grammar of anarchy. The position and the powers of three organs state are defined by the constitution. Everything which is mentioned in it. The position and the powers of three organs of the states are defined by the constitution. Then the only valid divisions are between those who are noble and wholesome and those who are ignoble and unwholesome. This quotation is given by Lord Gautam Buddha. Lord Gautam Buddha. We should concentrate on it. Next line is also very important. This line is given by the Tamil poetess Avai. There are only two castes in the world, namely the charitable who give and ours is a superior, and second one is that is a miser who do not and are therefore inferior. This line also very important. Then Mahatma Gandhiji stressed the duties. Yes, most of the students will confuse on it. Now, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, yes, stress, you say, what about the Mahatma Gandhiji? Mahatma Gandhiji stressed the duties. What are the duties? And the Baba Sahib Ambedkar stressed the inherent rights. What are the inherent rights? One side, yes, there are so many duties. Other side, there are so many rights. And so that's why Mahatma Gandhiji stressed the duties and Baba Sahib Ambedkar stressed the inherent, that is the rights. And at last, Baba Sahib Ambedkar passed away in December 1956. 1956. Then Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar became a prominent champion of the oppressed and depressed in India. Depressed and the India. After his death, Jawaharlal Nehru was described as a Baba Sahib as a symbol of revolt. Who called him as a symbol of revolt? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. You should concentrate on it. Okay. Then now we turn to the next lesson, that is a concert. The concert which is written by the Shanta Rameshwaran. The present lesson, the concert, tells us about the Anand who had suffered from a cancer. It was a heart-touching story. It was a heart-touching story. Anand was a fond of the music, especially sitar. He liked very much. He was a fan of the sitar, and so here. But here, other side, he was facing his own problem. The problem was that he was suffered from the cancer. It was a heart-touching story. Then the year, what are the major characters mentioned in it? The first character, that is a Smita, 16 years old. What was the age of the Smita? 16 years old girl. And who was the Smita? That is the sister of Anand. Second one is that is Anand. Who was Anand? Brother of Smita. What was his age? 15 years old. He was the best table tennis player in the school and the fastest runner. Next character, Sushila. Who was Sushila? Sushila was Smita's aunt who lived in Bombay. Then the Smita's mother. Then the Pandit Ravi Shankar. Who was Pandit Ravi Shankar? Indian musician, composer, and a sitar player. And next one here, the Ustad Allah Raka. Who was Ustad Allah Raka? An Indian tabla player. It is a little bit introductions about the major characters. Smita read news excitedly about the Pandit Ravi Shankar playing at the Shanmukananda Auditorium in Bombay. She read loudly. Other side, he was lying on his bed. His condition was a bedridden condition. Anand's condition was a bedridden condition. He was lying on his bed. But the other side, she read such a news excitedly about the Pandit Ravi Shankar. Yes, now he was very happy when he heard such the news. He was very happy, and then the year and said that we mustn't miss the chance to see and to hear the Pandit Ravi Shankar. This line is also very important. Who said this? We mustn't miss the chance. That is Anand. It's a chance of lifetime. Who said this? That is our Anand. It's a chance of a lifetime. Smita had known the frightening truth that Anand was going to die. The last one question now, what was the frightening truth? Yes, the frightening truth was like that. Anand was going to die. Whenever Anand's family came to Bombay, they stayed with Aunt Sushila. Aunt Sushila's apartment was there in Bombay, and here they came with our Anand for his treatment to Bombay, and they lived with that is Aunt Sushila's apartment. Then the year Smita and the aunt, yes, means their native place was like the town place. There was Gaganpur. The last one question now, what was the native place of Anand and Smita? That is Gaganpur. Anand's family members, how many members in Anand's family members? There are 4 members. Anand had astonished his guru by composing his own tunes. Anand's parents had come with high hopes in the miracles of modern science. But here, doctor at the cancer hospital in Bombay, yes, they told to the family members of Anand, take him home, give him the things he likes, yes, to like the indulge him. The doctor told to that the cancer hospital in Bombay. Smita and her family came to Bombay that the Anand would cure at the cancer hospital. Anant and her family came to Bombay that Anant would cure at the cancerous hospital. It was their hope. Suddenly, daring thought, and now yes, at first she was not ready to go to the concert at Shanmukhananda Auditorium to hear and to see Pandit Ravi Shankar. But afterwards, yes, she was ready to go to the concert. And suddenly such a daring thought came to the Smita. It was a requesting Pandit means here. She went there and she saw everything. And now what happened? Yes, after this concert, yes, Smita requested Pandit Ravi Shankar to play the music for Anand. Yeah, she told everything to that Pandit Ravi Shankar. She requested to Pandit Ravi Shankar to come to his house, or her house. And so here, yes, and now here the audience means here at last he accepted that is a request of Pandit, request of our the Smita. The audience respected the great master Pandit Ravi Shankar by the standing ovation. At first, we know that the large mustache man made a long, boring speech after that the function. That is a mustache man made a long, boring speech. A large mustache man discouraged Smita when she requested Pandit Ravi Shankar. The last one questions on it. Yes, who discouraged the Smita? This large mustache man discouraged the Smita. Then the year. You must not bother him with such a request. Who said? Whom? The last one questions. Yes, that the mustache man asked such a questions to the Smita. Yes, you must not bother him with such a request. The request was asked to that is Ravi Shankar to come to her house and play the sitar for Anand. And at last, yes, they came. And at that time, Smita's neighbors could not believe their eyes because Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Raka visited the house. Yes, this is our lesson. Now the colors of the silence. The present lesson tells us about the Satish Gujral. The present lesson tells the biography of Satish Gujral, who was a younger brother of Inder Gujral. Who was Inder Gujral? You know that the former Prime Minister of India. What is the message of our lesson? Is a physical disability is a no barrier to success. It is a message of this lesson. Colors of silence. Satish was absent regularly from the school because he was not well. Who was a Surendra? Surendra was a trained dog. That is a Satish. Satish could hear. Means now here there was a problem. There was a problem. Satish could hear. Surendra, who means only after he repeated the question 3 times, because yes, Satish had lost his sense of hearing. Once what happened? He met with an accident at the age of 8 years old in Kashmir the previous year. Yes, when he was crossing the Rickety Beach. And now here the problem was that now the Satish world became a silent. Now he became the silent. He became a deep, which was worst for him. And next line I have quoted, that is Mr. Avatar Narayan. Who was Mr. Avatar Narayan? Father of Satish. Then the year after that, school could not keep the Satish because of his the frequent absence and his hearing problem. Satish did not want to go another new school because he could not talk to the other children and everyone could make the fun of his deafness. There are the 2 reasons. So that he was not ready to go to another school. Satish's elder brother was supported to our Satish in learning the words as well as the pronunciation. Satish's father encouraged him to learn by reading the books. The life of Garibaldi translated into Urdu by Lala Lajpat Rai, the works of Munshi Premchand and Sharat Chandra, etc. The turning point of Satish's life was looking at a bird which was unlike any he had ever seen before. The bird had the longest tail and the black crease, and the most interesting thing about the bird was its restless energy. That's the point. Why do you take the source of entertainment? Who said this? Satish's mother said this. Then the year Satish's father changed his attitude towards reading books and gave full of the paints, brushes of the shapes and the sizes several rolls of the drawing sheets. Then Satish became not only an artist, painter, architect, sculptor, also the writer. Satish's paintings were exhibited in Museum of Art, Modern Art, New York, the Hiroshima Collection, Washington, the National Gallery of the Modern Art, New Delhi. He has published the four books of works in various arts. He has published 4 books of the works in various art. He was awarded the Order of the Crown for the best architectural designer the 20th century for the designs of the Belgian embassy in New Delhi. He has also honored the Padma Vibhushan awarded by the government of India. And now here we turn to the poetry section. In short, we'll take that is the poetry section. Grandma climbs a tree. You know that it is a lengthy poem. This poem is written by the Ruskin Bond, well-known Indian novelist. It is a descriptive poem. It shows the Ruskin Bond's great ability to enjoy the unusual events and that is action. You know that. And now here the grandma, Ruskin Bond's the grandma, poet's grandma. Yes, old woman. She had such a childish habit of the design. Poet's grandma was a genius. Why she was a genius? Because she could climb the spreading and high tree. It was her habit. Grandma climbed a tree at the age of 62 years old. 62 years old, not 6 years old, 62 years old. The grandma was happier on a tree, not earth. Quite weak. Yes, in a bed was like a brief season in a hail for a granny. Next year, the neighbors told the grandma to stop the climbing a tree because they wanted her to grow the old gracefully. Gracefully. Grandma was taught climbing a trees by her loving brother. Who taught? Loving brother. The doctor took a temperature and suggested quite a week. That is in a bed. The doctor suggested, yes, the granny quite weak in a bed. The family members sigh with relief. Family members sigh with relief. My dad knew his duty. What was his dad's duty? His duty was to fulfill the granny's desire. And at last he had done his duty to build a new house on the top of the tree. Finally, the granny appeared a right to reside in a tree on the top of the house. It was this line is a very important. Yes, it was like a brief season in the hail. Which type of figure of speech is used in this line? That is a simile. That is a simile. Now we turn to the next poem, Quality of Mercy, which is written by William Shakespeare. This poem is for memorizations. So you should memorize your poem. You concentrate. Why? Because they will ask such the incomplete line which is mentioned, such an incomplete line which is mentioned in your options. So that's why you recite the correctly. You should memorize. I will highlight it on the 2 figure of speech. One is it droppeth gentle rain from heavens. Which figure of speech is as a gentle, yes, as a gentle rain from the heaven. Which figure of speech is used here? That is the simile. It droppeth as there is a printing mistake. That is as the gentle rain from the heaven. The figure of speech is used. That is a simile. Earthly power doth then show the likest gods. Another figure of speech. That is a simile. The Song of India, which is written by the V.K. Gokak. There are 2 speakers in this poem. Our poem is in the form of a dialogue between the poet V.K. Gokak and the mother, that is India. 2 speakers, Mother India and the V.K. Gokak. The poet wants to sing about the beauty of the snowboard, the peaks of Himalayas or 3 seas or the clear Advan or other things also. But she does not like it. She said to the V.K. Gokak to sing a song about the real condition or real picture of India, to tell about the beggar, leper, the condition of leper, condition of the beggars, field of the dirt. she said again and again. Yes, but here our V.K. Gurkha could not understand what she said. So such the poem, yes, it is a philosophical poem we try to understand. Mother India wrote that is a book of that is a Maro. Yes, he wrote that is a book of Maro. Yes, that the beat into my ears like a gong. Which figure of speech is used in this poem? That is a simile. Next poem is that jazz poem 2, which is written by the Carl Wendell Heinz Jr. It is a descriptive poem. The jazz player is compared to an ancient mariner. The instrument of the jazz player was an alto saxophone. Yes, he was full of the wearies of living. He was a pathetic figure. Pathetic figure. His frayed collar, faded blue old shirt turns dark with a sweat. His stomach was sagging. The jazz player has been sent to that earth to preach the gospel of the jazz. This point is also very important. And another figure of speech is used in this poem. He is like a black ancient mariner. Which figure of speech is used here? That is a simile. The blind boy, the last poem you should memorize such the poem. You should, line to line, you should memorize. It's very useful for you. You will get the 1 mark. Yes, 1 mark. So that's why memorization or recitations you can use. In this poem, the present poem tells us about the condition of the blind boy. The speaker, who is the speaker in this poem? That is the blind boy. This poem is written by Kali Sibbar. Kali Sibbar. Now here we turn to the supplementary reading section. Here you know that the Narayanpur incident. There are 2 supplementary reading. The first one is that Narayanpur incident, and second one is that is a great martyr ever cherished. And now we concentrate on Narayanpur incident, which is written by the well-known novelist, Indian novelist, that is Shashi Deshpande. Introduction of characters. Introduction of the characters. There are the 5 characters. 5 characters are mentioned in it. The first character is that Mohan, elder son of that is a teacher, and his age was 15 years old. Who was a Babu? Babu was a younger son of the teacher. His age was 13 years old. Who was a Manju? Yes, Manju was a daughter of teacher, aged 11 years old. And then the mother of Mohan. There is no name for mother of Mohan. And the Suman, college friend of her, that is a Mohan. And now here we know that the 1900 such an incident was happened in 1942 at the time of a Quit India movement. The British police were arrested to the teacher who lived in Narayanpur without any reason, and so here they arrested to the teacher, and so that's why here the characters, Miss Mohan, Babu, Manju. Yes, the Babu and Manju are the passive character, but the creative character, that is a Mohan and Suman. Yes, and the other students were gathered and they protested such the march against the British. Yes, they had given such all things paper. A teacher, who was a teacher? Teacher was a follower of Gandhiji, has been arrested by the British. And now here, what happened? Styling machine was there in the mysterious parcel. Yes, they'll ask one question on this. What about that? In the mysterious parcel, there is cyclo-styling machine. The march was unusual because there were no shouts or there were no slogans. The students marched to that barricade gates to give a notice to the DSP. There is going to be a search in your house. Who said this? The sub-inspector, that is a Patil. Sub-inspector Patil was a friend of the teacher, and he came and he said to that, or he suggested to that the family member, yes, there is going to be search in your house. There is going means the British will come and the search in your house. Why? Because silo styling machine was in their house. So that such good information was given by that is a Patil inspector. Using this cyclo-styling machine, the students, what are the use of cyclo-styling machine? The students were making copies of Mahatma Gandhi's speech, and so that's why yes, they searched, the British police searched to the cyclo-styling machine. The police expected about the march? The protest to be protest and be violent. Then they kept silos such as the machine was there. There means where that is in a puja room. They kept such as the cyclostyling machine there. That is puja room. Such is the story which is mentioned in it. Now I turn to that the lesson, last lesson, that is a great martyr ever cherished, which is edited by Neha Mathur and Tessie Kosi. Here the present lesson tells us about that the bravery act or the life history of that is Hanifuddin. At the age of 25 years old, he sacrificed his life to that our country. And so here, after the year, the Hanifuddin's, that is the death, that is a Turtuk sector in Kargil is renamed as a subsector Hanif in a memory of his bravery. At the age of 25 years, yes, he became a lieutenant. You try to understand. His friend called him as a Khalifa. His friends called him as a Khalifa. At the age of 8 years old, Hanif's father lost his father. Hanif lost his father. The mother, who was a mother, that is Hema Aziz, was a mother of Hanifuddin. Hanifuddin was a talented. How can we say that he was a talented? Because he played the drums and dabbled in arts, or he was making the cards from that is a best material. Nafisuddin, he was that is the elder brother of that is Hanifuddin. Yes, he was a teacher. Yes, he was a teacher. Then Hanifuddin was a student of Kerala school in New Delhi and had applied to the army when he was graduating from the Shivaji College. Hanif joined the 11 Rajputana Rifles in army. 11 Rajputana Rifles in army. Hema Aziz politely declined the Indian Army's compensations offer of a petrol pump. And here the last line, there are some families whose sole bread earner is gone. They need it more. Who said this? That is Hema Aziz. Who was Hema Aziz? Our mother of that is our Hanifuddin. Such is the story which is mentioned in it. While studying the entire lesson, you should read line to line. You will get an idea. Yes, and then it is the 50% we have I have covered. But what about that is the grammar? The units are mentioned in it. Grammar's units are mentioned in it. Yes, you should. I will only orally. I will focus on it. You should study about that. They will ask 15 marks or 16 marks you have allotted for the grammar section with the help of or according to your question paper. You should highlight it on the grammar or grammatical units like that. The first one is that is the question tag. Second one is the question tag. You know that question tag. Framing the questions. They will give a statement and they underline to that the particular that is the words, and you should you can choose such a particular that is an option. Next, syllabification. They will ask one questions on syllabification. They will give the 4 words, 4 means A, B, C, D. And then what happen, you should find out a 1 syllable word, 2 syllable word, or 3 syllable word. Yes, just like that you can find out such the syllables. Homophone also. Homophones means same pronunciation, but its meaning, spelling, and origins are different. It is a homophone, like weak, principal, yes, meet, leave, like that. Then the prefixes and the suffixes. Yes, they will give some prefixes, or the prefixes also they will give. Yes, it's easy task. Language functions. So many language functions are there. So many language functions. Yes, like permission, request, suggestion, advice, or the introduction, accepting invitation or refusing invitation, obey, offering help, order, obligations. For example, yes, may I come in, sir? Which language function is used in this sentence? Its answer is that is a permission. Like that, you can choose the correct, that is the option. Then the form of the word. There are 2 terms, form of the word and the form of the verb. Form of the word, you can just select the word, like you can change noun change into that is a means here noun change into the that is a sorry, the adjective change into the adverb. or the noun you can use like that. Means for example, manage the verb. You can change its form, manage, into noun. That is a management, like that. You can change it's the form here. It's form. Then the year, that is a form of the verb. Form of the verb is also articles. There are two types of articles. That is a finite. That is a definite articles and the indefinite articles. Yes, the means an indefinite article and the is a definite article. Voices, active voice and the passive voice. Means you know that there is a active voice changed into the passive voice. Your teacher told about that. You should prepare about that. Degrees of comparison, superlative degree, comparative degree change into superlative degree change into the, that is a positive degree. You can do that. Then the year to infinitive. Yes, to infinitive is also a very important. So you can do that. The if clause, conditional clause they will ask like that. The parts of speech, you concentrate the all parts of speech, noun, verb, pronoun, adverb, adjective, conjunction, preposition, interjection. You should prepare like that. They will ask one questions to identify the parts of speech to the underlying word. They will ask such other questions. So yeah. Then the year reported speech means direct into indirect, direct into the indirect. Then the use so that, then use a so that means remove to like that. Yes, so, and another thing is that you should concentrate on later writing also. One question comes in your that is a model of a question paper. The US Petpeli, what is this? What is this? It is a subscriptions. We try to understand. It is a subscriptions. With so many parts of means in a letter, particular we say that address of sender, then informal letter address of addressee or receiver, then the salutation, like that. Date before the date, then the salutation, then the year, body of the letter, closing statement, and the last is that is a subscription. It is known as a subscriptions. Yes, you go like that. You go like that. You should study. Yes. Now I think the time is over. I will conclude here. Thank you. Thank you very much.